It's going down. Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of It's Going Down, being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Protesters hit streets in Athens over cost of living. And this has really been an ongoing issue that is beginning to spread to different countries within Europe. Of course, it's going to happen here in America as well. But the point is that the protesters are hitting the streets in Athens because the cost of living. Now, France, the people down in France, they're also rioting and protesting because of the cost of living. Now, there's nothing wrong with the cost of living going up as long as the wages that people make go up as well. However, when the cost of living goes up but people's wages remain the same, then it starts to become a problem, because that means that you have to work more hours. You might have to get two jobs. And if the cost of living keeps going up but wages remain the same, then, people will have to start worrying about homelessness, poverty, less food in the house, less bills being paid. So what's going on here is the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, starting with the so-called elites, trickling down to the rest of their nation of people. They are pretty much putting a squeeze on the people, oppressing them. So, the whole world is in a state of mourning because of Job 9:24 and because of Proverbs 29:2. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So trade unions have called for the 24-hour walkout to protest against soaring energy costs, inflation. And inflation is when the government spends so much money, and then they print and they print and they print so much money that the dollar starts to collapse. And if you notice, there's inflation happening all around the world. You got inflation in France, you got inflation in Britain, you got inflation in Athens, Greece, you got inflation here in America. Why is all these inflations happening? Because the so-called elites, they want to crash the currencies. They want to crash the dollar, the currencies in these different countries, so they can bring in their idea of currency, which is going to be a digital currency, which will be on a device the size of a grain of rice, which they want to put inside you, which is the MOTB. So it says, inflation and the rising cost of living. So Sputnik comes live from Athens as protesters gather for a nationwide general strike. Demonstrators are demanding a significant increase in wages and pensions, collective agreements that ensure stable work with respect for rights, cheap electricity, and essential goods for the population. But as time passes on, things will not get any better. Not to your embetterment. Things will only get worse, because we're living at the end of Esau, Edom's empire. And Revelation 12 verse 12 is coming into play. The devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. The strikes are taking place in Athens, Thessaloniki, and other major cities and Greece. Now, as touching Thessaloniki, there's a lot of Israelites that live in Thessaloniki. Okay, the proof of that is the book of First and Second Thessalonians. Okay, the Lord sent Paul to go to Thessalonians because there were Israelites there living like Greeks. Okay, that they were Hellenized. So all this could possibly going on because the Lord is bringing a judgment upon Israel that's living down there in Thessaloniki. Okay. So the media could not be loaded either because the server or network failed or because the format is not supported. No, I believe it's because they don't want you to know what's going on in Athens, Greece. But anyways, let's go to the King James Version of this. Second Esdras, chapter 15, verse 16. To get straight to the point. Second Thessalonians, chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. Now, what is a sedition? A sedition is an uprising or a rebellion against the government or a higher authority. Okay, a protest, a riot, or a rally is an example of a sedition. So what are we seeing here? We see the prophecy of 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 16 playing out down there in Athens, Greece. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. Invading one another meaning they're going to take to the streets. Okay? Hundreds of people are thousands of people are going to invade the streets, and they're going to express their disgust for the government. They're going to express their anger for their government. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. So when there's a protest against the government, ain't nobody concerned with what the president got to say, especially if they know that he's not going to change his mind on something. He's going to follow suit with it. So it says, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So there you go. And then I should read this one because they showed martial law in this in that picture. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because in the hour of martial law, as you see in this picture right here, they set up barricades. They set up spike strips. They block off your roads and your bridges to other cities or other states by using these methods. And they set up tanks and MRAPs to ensure that nobody tries to ram their way through. So what's going to happen? It's going to be martial law, like you see right here. Except there's different levels to martial law. This is like martial law level 1, where they have troops with riot shields. Okay, as you see right there. Okay, the next level of martial law is when they bring out the spike strips and the barricades. That's level 2 martial law. Level 3 martial law is when they bring out the SUVs. Okay. They bring out the tanks. They bring out the helicopters, and this is the highest level of martial law that you're going to get on this side. So indeed, passages are being blocked off. And this is normally how a government solves the anger of these protests and riots. when they want to force people to cooperate. But again, this is how the devil is coming down with great wrath. Okay? He's coming down with great wrath through his military police force, through his military, his army. This is how the devil, the so-called elites, are coming down with great wrath. But with that, I'm going to say shalom. It's on to the next one.